Alright, so in today's video, we got this PS5 here. Customer came in, said it's got no display. She thinks it's the HDMI port, and I do concur that it's the HDMI port after I show you some videos here.
As you can see clearly, that is all chewed up. I mean, half of it's practically gone, the plastic around it, but the prongs are all over the place. That's a prong sticking out right there. It's all bent. At the bottom right here is all bent up. Yeah, this is definitely going to be her issue. And just to make sure we don't have any other issues, I got it all hooked up here, HDMI and the power cord. Powers up. Perfect. But obviously we are not going to get any display. Let's see, it's super loose in the port there. It's not even, actually it kind of looked like it found something for a split second, but this thing is so loose, it's 100%. All right, so once you get these fins off, you just kind of have to bang them from the top off. They're on there pretty good, but we're gonna want to take these 4 screws out, and then we're going to take all of these screws out that just hold this whole cover. You're also going to want to, we're going to have to take that off as well. That'll be the next step after you get all the screws off. All right, and once you get all those screws out, the fan should be able to move around. We're going to have to, this fin pops out. But we're gonna look underneath this. We're gonna have to peel this little sticker off. Just like that. And this is your connector for the fan. I believe you can just kind of wiggle and pull that off pretty easy. And you can get your fan out. If you bend the fan deal a little bit, but this got to come out first, so that will be the next step. All right, fair warning, be very careful taking this off. Very easy to break. It's just got clips on there that kind of just slide in, and then all the pieces go on, so you're gonna have to try to pull it out a little bit, try to put it up, and then you can kind of just go one at a time pulling it up. Now this is the warranty sticker. I'm pretty sure it's years old, and she wouldn't have taken it to me if it was warranted. So, but there's a hidden screw underneath that. Don't forget that. And then we'll pop this cover right off. Looks like there's also another hidden screw underneath the fin. 2 hidden screws underneath the fin. And also I forgot to mention, but it was very simple, but this little cover here just goes on with a little Phillips. So just get that off and it pops right off just like that. Popping the cover off. Try to do this with one hand. Just like that. Now next step, we're gonna have to disconnect all the ribbon cables. We're gonna have to disconnect this one. I believe this one just kind of pulls out. They give you a little pull tab right here. Just wiggle that out. These little connectors right here, they just pull up like that. Just like that. And then we're gonna wanna move these out the way. So they don't get caught on anything. And now we're gonna want to, looks like, gotta disconnect this ribbon cable. Slides right out. And I believe there's another one right there, but first we're gonna have to take this shield off. And it looks like it's held in by 1 million tiny little screws. So that's not fun, but looks like you just got to go around the whole perimeter of it, take out every little screw, and then that will pop right off. All right, so after that many screws, we're gonna need to get the shield off. Now I know there's thermal paste underneath this, so it's gonna be a little hard to pry up on, but a little force. Those are the little thermal pads I was talking about. Came off fine. Now, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have to take off. We're gonna probably have to flip it on to the other side of the board and get a few more screws out from the other. So on the other side of the console, there's a screw there, and there is a screw in there. We gotta get those out real quick. Just like that. Boom. Now we're gonna go back on the other side of the console. Right back on this side, we're gonna have to undo this ribbon connector. Looks like it looks like you pull this little tiny metal right there, clip right there. I think you pull that out, and then as you're pulling that out, you then pull the ribbon cable out. I need 2 hands for that, so I'll see y'all whenever I get that out. All right, got the camera set up to where I don't gotta hold it no more, but basically you pull that little metal connector deal, pull the ribbon cable out at the same time. Now you should be able to lift up the board. Careful though, see, forgot to undo that. Make sure we're not having any more connections, and just like that, that's your heat sink there. And that is your power supply right here. So if you just got a completely dead PlayStation, that sometimes is the problem. But now we're gonna have to move this aside. And now we're gonna have to take these screws off. They're little 15, or not 15 millimeters. I used to talking about cars, but they're little Phillips. This is a clamp that I guess holds together the APU and the heatsink together. Get that off. This just comes right off. And now should be able to just remove this. Should be able to just separate the heatsink from the board. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. Oh, right, now we gotta separate the board first. A few screws right here and here. Any other screws anywhere? Nope. I don't think so. So I think you gotta, I believe that's not holding down the board. I do not believe. Nope. I believe now you gotta pry the board out from, just like that. Separate it. Boom, just like that. That's your APU in the middle there, your brain, and HDMI ports right there. So we'll get on with the soldering it off and on and put a new one on there. Right, now that we got the board out, we're gonna add some flux so that the solder flows better, especially on all of those pins. Come on, focus. All those little tiny pins right there. And we're gonna add some solder to the big 4 points that kind of mount the HDMI port. Just like that. And we're gonna put a lot of heat. We're gonna need a lot of heat on that thing because this board really is good at distributing heat. You know, it engineered really good, I guess. So we're gonna have to put a lot of heat just to get that to a melting point. All right, hopefully y'all can see decent, but this is the HDMI port right here. And I'm going to heat it up from the bottom while trying to, you're gonna wanna be really patient with these because you don't wanna rip those little pads off because you'll have to do so much more work and it just is a nightmare and stressful. So you wanna be really, really patient. You're gonna get the hot air gun. Let's see if get you a better. I take the hose, the little top off, because I hear that it's a bit better for doing these. Distributes the heat a little better. You want to be really patient. It takes a while for it to heat up. It's supposed to just super easily come right up. If it gives you any struggle, I would not force it. Probably fast forward all this. Boom, just like that. See how hot it is, it's literally smoking. So I'll show y'all close up on the pins. So just like that, no pads ripped off. It is perfect. And we'll have to, I'm gonna clear it. Well, I think I'm gonna heat it up with the hot air again and just drop the new port right back in because I don't want to have to try to solder it while moving it around. There's been times where I've had stupidly put the port on and then try to solder the legs and it just ends up ripping the little deals, these little pads right here, if they are connected and the mounts aren't. So I'm gonna do just about the same thing but in reverse. All right, this is a bit better of a camera angle. Should use it the first time, but you know what, you live and you learn. So we're gonna put that HDMI port back on, a good one, back on. And depending on how long this takes, this will either be fast forwarded or you will see the whole thing. that looks pretty good. We're gonna have to check the little tiny pins on the back and see if they got soldered on all the way. If not, then we'll just have to manually solder it or just kind of drag some solder on there. It's no big deal if it's not. It's just very fine, tiny little work. So we'll get right on it. I don't know if I just got really lucky or if I'm that good, but I guess you can see better with the microscope. Not a single one of those pins is loose, and I have not even soldered it at all. That was just first try. Not a single one of those is loose. I've already checked this about 3-4 times, but wanted to show y'all so you believe me. That was first try. Don't even have to go back and solder those. So that should do it. We should just have to, well, we're gonna also have to add some liquid metal because that is a big dry spot. And they're kind of actually, the whole concept of the PS5 standing straight up vertical does this. You know, one side gets more liquid than the other. Instead of, you know, sitting flat. Same thing with the Xbox. I think the Series X, they also stand up straight, and the boards are vertical. So, I mean, if you hold it like that for years and years and years, liquid metal is in fact a liquid, so eventually it will fall to one side. So I don't know, it's kind of a dumb kind of deal, but we'll add some more. You don't want to add too much. You really mess things up if you get it all over the place, but you want to add enough to where you don't got any dry spots like that. Okay, so I did the liquid metal off camera. Seemed like it needed a lot of attention, so I had to really focus on that because I did not want it getting everywhere. So got it all back together. We'll start the reassembly process. All right, we'll get started on the reassembly process. Just reverse everything. Here we go. All right, so I had to cut a lot out on the reassembly because I accidentally put a few screws in the wrong place and had to go all back and take the screws out because they were in the way of the top screws they have to go in. But anyways, it's all back together now. So that's why I'm gonna probably just fast forward all of it. But let's see, moment of truth. Powers up just fine. Let's see. Says it sees it right there in the top right. See how long it takes for it to boot up. There it goes. Just like that. PS5 fixed. Wish I had a controller, I would test it out, but well, somebody didn't turn it off right the first time, but it's working. So that's how you do it.
All right, y'all, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Honestly, biggest challenge to me was just putting it back together because I could not remember which of those silver screws went in which hole. It was a little bit annoying having to go back and figure out that I had the longer screws. weren't going in because I had a little tiny silver screw in the wrong hole, which was just one hole off. There's a million of those little screws. I think it's a bit over-engineered or just over-protective, I guess. They really don't need that many screws. But that was my biggest challenge. This kind of repair stuff is not that hard to me. You know, if you're gonna try to do it yourself, obviously the soldering, the hot air station, all that kind of stuff is gonna, first off, you gotta have that stuff. Most people don't. And if you do, you know, this board takes a lot of heat. You know, you gotta probably max out your hot air station and put it at like 50% air. That's what I did. And a good tip is taking whatever attachment you have off and just because it spreads out the heat more, it just comes out it hits all the points at the same time instead of having the little I don't know what it's called, but the little attachment on there that makes the air come out in a lot smaller hole. That definitely helps a lot, just hitting it from underneath like that and hitting all the points at the same time. That's my biggest tip if you're gonna try to do this yourself. And also take pictures and videos of every single screw. I didn't do that, and it was pretty annoying going back after I put them in the wrong hole. So also, if you heard any noises in the background, that's my bird in the back, or well, my dad's bird in the back. So I'll put a little video of her as the outro, if y'all were wondering what the heck is that noise in the background. But yeah, that's about it. If y'all got any comments, concerns, or anything, any questions, leave it down below. If you see this video and you want to ship me your broken PS5, I can't stop you. I'll put the shop phone number in the description, and I probably won't put my personal one in case. I hope this does somehow blow up, gets a million bajillion views, but I doubt it. But in case it does, I'm not gonna put my personal phone number on there. I'll put the shop phone. We're 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. So if you want to ever get in contact with me, just call Automotive Electronics. Phone number is 210-379-1395. Once again, here 9 to 5. Just give us a call. But yeah, that's about it. If you want to see different videos, put in the comments. Or like if you want to see a thorough disassembly and reassembly, I can make that video pretty easy. I'll try to put other game consoles and also probably just in general other electronic repairs. You know, I'm learning as well, so you know, I've only been doing this for a year or two. You know, my dad's been teaching me most of the stuff, but the gaming console stuff I'm kind of self-teaching myself. But I'm pretty confident in all my repairs. So I'll probably make another video with a Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One or whatever. I got a few of those in the shop that I'm trying to kind of refurbish them and just sell them for just a little bit of side money. So, but yeah, that's about it. I guess I'll see y'all in the next video.